on a grand scale, just beyond cars in terms of managing our energy.
Yeah, there's a really great report that people might be interested in. It's called Clean Earth 2030. It's actually a report put out by Google, and it talks about how the internet can get involved in making available instantaneously the instantaneous price of electricity. And then your dryer at home can decide, oh, I'm not going to turn on now, even though Joe told me to turn on. I'm going to wait till the middle of the night when electricity is cheap, or when the wind is blowing and electricity is cheap. And the same thing will happen with your car. You'll get home and plug in the car, and the car will communicate with the electricity company, and it will decide, I'm not going to charge yet because electricity is too expensive. I'm going to wait. And in the middle of the night when electricity becomes cheap, or when the sun is blazing down and the solar cells are delivering electricity, then the car will charge. Say you go on holiday and you park your car at the airport and you plug it in. So during the nighttime when energy is cheap, the car is charging the battery. In the day when energy is expensive, your car is selling its electricity back to the grid. You're on holiday the whole time, and you come back and you've made a couple $100 just having your car automatically buying and selling electricity. Isn't it wonderful?
Might actually pay for the parking.
But that's the way we're going, and Google and General Electric have a partnership to start building these kind of appliances that talk to the electric utilities through the internet, and, everything can be smart like this. It's not far off.
So it sounds like you're not really talking about a big change in technology here. It's more the way we use the technology.
I think that's right. I'm very optimistic that, that this kind of smart approach using the battery technology that we have today, refined appropriately, can really make a huge difference.
Dr. Don, thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Bob.
Dr. Jeff Don is at Dalhousie University in Halifax.
Interview 1 is now over. Interview 2 will begin now.
Many of the technologies that we need to change the world aren't necessarily ways to do brand new things. They're ways to fix how we've been doing things since the dawn of time. Take, for example, eating meat. As the world's population has grown in numbers and prosperity, we're eating more meat than ever before. And growing animals for food consumes vast amounts of land, water, and other resources, and also creates a lot of pollution. So many people think a meat-rich diet for the world isn't really sustainable. Vegetarianism is one option, of course, but another alternative could be to grow our meat in a petri dish or a vat instead of on a cow. In scientific terms, this is meat grown in vitro. And in vitro meat might just be a technology that could change the world. Jason Matheny is a PhD student from the Bloomberg School of Public Health at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore and co-founder of New Harvest, a company that researches in vitro meat. So, Jason Matheny, I'm curious, what exactly would in vitro meat look like?
Well, it would look like regular meat. The real difference is in how it's produced.
Really? I mean, I think of it, would it look like a steak?
Well, we're talking about producing ground meat. So this is about half of the meat that we eat that's processed. So chicken nuggets, ground beef for hamburgers, ground pork for sausages.
Okay, so it's or Spam maybe.
Yeah, Spam would definitely be the easiest to make, but actually we could produce chicken nuggets or ground beef right now. It's really just a matter of bringing the cost down by improving the technology.
Well, how do you actually grow meat on a large scale?
Well, it hasn't been done on a large scale. So right now we're still doing it at a very small scale. But at a small scale, what's done in the laboratory is that a stem cell is taken from an animal and then proliferated in culture, basically in a flask that's filled with a nutritious soup filled with all sorts of nutrients. The cells then multiply, and then by placing them in an environment in which the cells are stretched, the cells actually grow and form tissue. It sounds pretty sci-fi, but it's actually a technology that's been around for decades. But it didn't reach the maturity until recently that something like this would actually be feasible to do at an industrial scale.
That's amazing. Now, if you're starting with stem cells, does that mean the cells in your meat are all the same?
No, you could actually co-culture with lots of different types of cells. In fact, in culture, you have